Hey guys, welcome back. Let's respond to this comment because I think it's a good one and I've never really covered it and I want to cover it specifically. So, yelling never helps, and this is by Rika Sharma. Thank you for the comment. Yelling never helps in singing because you don't want to yell the whole song. You also need coordination to sing it lightly, and you can't sing lightly if you have strained your voice by yelling. Cool. So what I want to address here is broadly, I want to cover this topic of what even is yelling, because my view is that yelling is as you improve as a singer, you're able to discern between different types of yell, and what I mean by that is there are some sounds, and I've covered this in other videos about how to yell. There are some sounds that are wide open and a bright wide vowel that are very healthy, that can be very healthy for a singer. Yes, they can be harder to take up in high in your range, but you can do them healthily. So the question for me is, more often or not, is how healthy is that sound, rather than is it a yell or not a yell. And when we talk about how healthy it is, we talk about, is it a balanced sound? What I mean by that typically is, when we yell, we still want some kind of a split of resonance, some kind of sense that the voice has somewhere to go, that we haven't hit a hard ceiling. Yeah? If the voice feels squishy and it sounds squishy, and it sounds like you can hear in a singer they've not really hit a ceiling, even if it's wide open, very powerful, very thick in the compression. If you get the sense that there's space, there's room for them to go, if you get a sense that the sound is very rounded and it just sounds very clear and bell-like, there's nothing really in the way, there's nothing kind of holding the sound back, typically that's going to be a healthy sound. An unhealthy sound, or a yell that we want to avoid, is one where it feels like, or sounds like, the singer's kind of hitting a ceiling. They're hitting a limit on what they're going to be at. They're not going to be able to take it any higher. Also, the sound has a loss of overtones. And what do I mean by that? When we make any sound or pitch, there's actually a layer of other pitches on top of that pitch. Think of it like this. If you hear an oboe or a trumpet or a violin play the same pitch, immediately you know which instrument is playing based on how it sounds, yeah? Because all these instruments have very unique and diverse overtones on any particular pitch, and those overtones dictate the quality of the sound. Now, when we yell, we lose overtones. We lose the roundness in the sound. So when we make an unhealthy sound, we can listen out for these qualities. When we hear a singer, we can listen out for, is there a loss of roundness? Is there a loss of overtones? Does it sound like they're hitting a ceiling? Does it kind of sound flat sounding, even though it might be on pitch? All these types of nuances you can start to listen, and you can start to grade singers, and what you'll discover is yelling isn't a zero-sum game. It is a big spectrum from absolutely healthy, efficient coordination, where everything's bell-like, everything's very round, and everything's completely healthy, all the way down a long grey scale to everything's abusive, everything's a push, and everything is a hard limit at the very roof of what that singer's is capable of doing. So we've got a big spectrum between those, yeah? Now, depending on where you're at as a singer, you'll be able to yell for different amounts of time. You'll be able to abuse your voice, quote unquote, for different lengths of time. You'll be able to pull chest, quote unquote, for different lengths of time. The better you get, the more you're able to just do whatever you want in a healthy and efficient way. Now, why is it that those full voice, chesty, wide open sounds tend to be harder to coordinate up high than, a heady, hootier type sound with less closure? Those types of sounds just by their nature want to hold on to chest. I think of it like this, is whatever the type of sound you're making, it will want to lean in one direction or the other. And your goal as a singer is to counteract that tendency as best you can. Now, some sounds, even once you get extremely good at what you're doing, they're only going to go so far. They're only going to go so far. They're only going to be able to extend into head voice so much before either you're going to have to make some kind of adjustment to the vowel, or it's going to take a hell of a lot of work to take it any higher. This is where I've talked about it before, vowel modification. There is some trade-offs you might want to make at certain parts of your range, but ultimately we want to be able to take wide open vowels as high as they can go, healthily as we can. And when we get further and further down the road of mastery, these vowels will go pretty high, basically. And what it requires on your part is just more, it feels like more commitment and more guts to get there. But as you get good, you never really feel like you're hitting that ceiling. You never feel like the sound loses its roundness. And really this is the goal, to figure out degrees of yell, to figure out how much am I yelling, and to figure out eventually how do I do whatever I want and not have to worry about whether or not it's a yell or not anymore. Because I remember I could sing with my mouth closed pretty well for a long time, but anytime I opened my mouth, I just dropped out of it. And it took me a long time to realize and learn, like, how do I sing with my mouth open? Because everything feels like a yell. Yeah? It's a question you need to answer as a singer. Eventually you want to sing with wide open, no big deal. Yeah? It's easier said than done. Anyway, degrees of yell. Think about it, guys. It's not a zero-sum game. We've got a spectrum from very, very abusive to do whatever you want, Whitney Houston style. Yeah? Have a good day, and I'll see you soon. Bye! Thanks for watching this video, guys. If you want my help personally, you can book a one-on-one training session. Drop me a message. My email is in the description. And if you feel like this message was of value, then please feel free to make a donation equal to that value. Again, donation link is in the description. And finally, please share this video with other singers you know. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you in another video. Bye!